Runtime, Mule errors. Here you can see Mule errors. Here the Mule error types in Mule runtime. Mule errors have a namespace such as HTTP and file. An identifier such as not found. They belongs to a hierarchy of error types. Naming conventions enable you to distinguish the errors according to their domain. For example, instead of throwing not found, the HTTP connector can throw HTTP colon not underscore found. The file connector can throw file colon not found errors. Unlike connectors, Mule runtime errors have an implicit Mule namespace. So Mule colon expression and expression are interpreted in the same way. Error types can have a parent type. For example, parents of HTTP colon unauthorized is Mule colon client underscore security. And the parent of Mule colon client underscore security is Mule colon security. This hierarchy implies each error type is a specification of more global error type. For example, an HTTP colon unauthorized error type is the type of a client security error. Mule colon client security, which is a type of a more broad security issue, Mule colon security. Hierarchies enable you to route errors in a general or more specific way. For example, an error handler or Mule colon security catches an HTTP colon unauthorized errors and auth errors. The follow figure shows the core runtime hierarchy. All errors belongs to one of these two main types, any and critical. Each type under any is matched by its parent and can be handled, while error types under critical are so severe that cannot be handled and are only logged. Critical errors include fatal JVM error and overload. Whenever there is no clear reason for a failure, a component can use the unknown type. You handle this error through any type to define unclear errors without changing the existing behavior of the app. For connectors, for each connector, define its error type hierarchy considering core runtime hierarchy through connectivity. And retry exhausted types are always present because they are common to all connectors. Error types, any error types that matches all error types that occur in the flow can be handled. This type does not include errors that occur on the source. Transformation indicates an error occurred while transforming a value. This involves the Mule runtime internal transformations and not data wave transformations. Expressions indicates an error occurred while evaluating the data view expression. Validation indicates an validation error occurred. Duplicate message indicates a validation error regarding a message being processed twice. For example, using independent message validator. Redelivery exhausted indicates that the max attempts to reprocess a message from a source have been exhausted. Connectivity indicates that there was a problem establishing connectivity connection. This could occur while using a connector, for example, HTTP requester. Retry exhausted indicate that the retries of a certain execution block have been exhausted. For example, for a given operation or using until successful scope. Routing indicates an error occurred while routing a message, for example, using a round robin router. Composite routing indicates that one or more errors occurred while routing a message, for example, scatter gather router. Security indicates the security error occurred, like invalid credentials being received or expired token being used. Client security indicates an external entity calling an external endpoint, produces a security error. Server security indicates a security error enforced by the runtime, Mule runtime. Not permitted indicates a security restriction enforced by a filter, for example using the authorization filter of the Mule Spring module. Stream maximum size exceeded indicates the maximum size allowed for a stream has been exceeded. For timeout indicate timeout occurred while processing a message. Unknown indicates an unknown or unexpected error occurred. This cannot be handled directly, only by handling any to ensure backward compatibility in case more error types added in future runtime versions. Source indicates that error occurred in the source of the flow. These errors cannot be handled. A source error response generate indicates that an error occurred in the source of the flow, generating the parameters of an error type, error response. This error cannot be handled since the source has already executed the failing path. Source error response send indicates that an error occurred in the source of the flow, sending an error response. This error can be handled since the source has already executed the failing path. Source response indicate that the error occurred in the source of the flow while processing a successful message. These errors can only be propagated since the source already executed the successful path. These errors cannot be handled. Source response generate indicate an error occurred in the source of the flow while generating the parameters of the successful response. Source response send indicate an error occurred in the source of the flow while sending a successful response. Critical indicates the severe error occurred. These errors cannot be handled. Overload indicates the problem of overloading occurred and execution was rejected. Flowback pressure indicates the problem of overloading occurred at the source level, for example using REST-HTTP listener as a source. Fatal JVM error indicates a fatal error occurred, such as stack overflow. Here you can see errors, and errors are connected to any or critical, and in critical you can see the types unknown, transformation, routing, connectivity, and it has subtype connectivity is connected to retry exhausted, and connectivity and expression and security. Security has client security and server security. In the critical errors you can see a fatal and overload. Now this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching it.